that there is an ongoing problem in this community. They knew that this person was on ground, and once the person left, they struck. The danger here is for the Commissioner of Police not to be too fixated that this must be what he has in mind that it should be. Criminals can use such scenario to act as a decoy to shield themselves from who they really are, because it's easy for you to make a presumption that this is what I thought it should be. But criminals, terrorists are getting very smart. They can use such scenario. I'm not saying they did, but they could use such scenario as a decoy to shield themselves from suspicion.
It shouldn't just be taken for granted that this was a criminal, this was criminal warfare among gang members. There should be further investigation into it. Is that
definitely? You can never look at crime situation from one perspective. You have to look at it at a broader perspective.
Considering also that the father of the so-called drug lord was killed in this attack, from what we understand, can that be taken for granted?
You cannot take that for granted, because if they were actually coming there to assassinate him, then what was the reason for the shooting of innocent people? What was the reason for the shooting of people right inside in the front of a blessed sacrament? Now, they could have personally waited for him to come outside the church, or even go to his house and do it quietly. So when they came into that kind of big scene, but let me go into even a bigger situation.
Just a moment, I'll let you go into a bigger situation when we return from this time out. Please stay with us. Vincent Ekwelu is still with us in the studios. Just before we went on that break, you were trying to paint a bigger scenario. Recall that you were saying that we shouldn't just assume that that was it wasn't just a drug war. There could be more to it than meets the eye. What was the bigger scenario? Now,
the bigger scenario will be, what has the Commissioner of Police done when it comes to the investigation? Now, in the Nigerian security agencies, they love this idea of secrecy, confidentiality. Now, what is secret about this is 72 hours after the crime? Is it a big issue for the Commissioner of Police to give us basic information? Example, based on our investigations, we believe about 3 to 5 men were involved in this attack. Right now, you hear gunman, you hear gunmen. Nobody is even sure if it's 1 or 2. But you can give us an idea. I believe 3 to 5 people were involved. That's number one. Number two, you must have done the basic ballistic investigations. You must have seen the casings of the shells from the firearm. What kind of guns can those shells come out from? Were they rifles? Were they shotguns? You can give us this information, because somebody somewhere could have seen somebody carrying something like that on the road somewhere, and that could give you information. Now, you can give us information based on the penetration of the bullet into the victims' bodies. He shot them from this angle, or they shot them from this angle. Now, you can talk about basic things that could not stop the investigation.
But there are also questions to be asked of the community. I mean, much as nobody really wants to blame victims, the people who have suffered as a result of this attack, if the governor did say that, these attacks have been going on and they carried over a war they were, having in South Africa into Nigeria, it meant that there was enough information to know the business that these boys probably were, into.
You mean men?
Well, when they become all, drug lords and what have you, then, they deserve the name boys, because you have to ask what sort of men, do this kind of business. Why don't people report people like that?
Obviously, if the narrative being played out is the right narrative. Now, the communication, I believe the governor has done a fantastic communication analysis. I would have expected the Commissioner of Police to now do the rest, to come out and tell us more. It's no longer on the office of the governor to do all the communication. The CP is there. The governor has done what he's supposed to do on Sunday and on Monday. But I'm still looking for the Commissioner of Police to tell us more. What have you done about this community? You have this information that this was going on. What was your pre-planned preparedness to get this sorted? What was your communication strategy? What have you done with the community to inform them, to create the awareness, to work more effectively to create more effective partnership with the community. You have this intelligence already for you to make such a quick conclusion. A lot of people were not happy with the quick conclusion because they believe that for a long time in Nigeria, the security agencies don't actually inform us of what is happening. Example, Agatu, nothing has happened. Southern Kaduna, Nimbo in Enugu, Taraba, Adamawa, it's all enshrined in secrecy. So a lot of people were not happy that within 2 hours, you were able to resolve it. But it's not impossible. It can be done based on preliminary information they have. However, look at that picture here. It has happened. What is the platform? What are they doing to stop it from happening again? Is it just the beginning of a bigger picture? Because it's not in the culture of Anambra people or Igbo people to attack anybody inside a church premises. Be Catholic, Anglican, Pentecostal, Baptist, it's not in their culture.
No, but people have said that I don't think it's in anybody's culture really to go and desecrate a worship place. And that's the reason why Nigerians are scandalized by this. And they're even more scandalized when the governor says that this is something that has been happening in South Africa, carried over to Nigeria. And then you have to ask questions as to whether or not this xenophobia we have been hearing about have not also been going on amongst Nigerians themselves.
Not at all. Now, what I would have thought that... Not
at all?
Yeah,
You're
because
xenophobia
is xenophobia. It's about dislike or hate.
Now, you talked about people carrying out certain attacks under the shadow of other things. I mean, of course, because there is an atmosphere of hate, it could also be possible that people who are, using that shadow could be carrying out their own, criminal affairs or rivalry under the shadow of xenophobia.
It's not that's why I don't blame the Commissioner of Police in some areas, because it's never played out to that extent in that community. All right, the people of Ozobolo are peace-loving people. The people of Anambra State are peace-loving people, and one of the safest states in Nigeria currently. And the governor has done well in the past 3 years when it comes to issue of security. So it's not something that is common. It could be the first time. The question is, since it's the first time, is it going to happen again? In another church, in another place of worship? Is it time that this place of worship should install basic cameras, at least at the major entrances, so when people come in, you can be able to gather basic intelligence on who came in today? Maybe after 1 week, after 1 month, you can wipe it out and start to record again. Is it time? Secondly, is it time that even it's in churches or in mosques that we have the police, if they don't know how to do it, they can seek for help. How to educate people on how to manage a mass attack scenario. A lot of people that died out of panic. Many of them will rush towards the entrance door, and people will trip over each other. They will fall over each other. A door that's supposed to take 2-3 people will be forced to take about 15-10 people. And then you become just a very easy target for the attacker just to take you out one-on-one. But if people are trained to know, take that 5 seconds to monitor the situation. If you want to go behind a hard surface, a concrete, behind a metal, behind a wood, if you have to lie low and relax and just look for the potential best exit to run from, but not just run in panic and you become an easy target. Is it time that we train people in churches, in mosques, this basic, I call it emergency, I call it ICE, emergency life support methodology. Now, the platform is here is for people to be more informed.
In case of emergency, I think.
Sorry, in case of emergency, that's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for people to be more informed on how to carry themselves. But a lot of people die there. But another issue we have to look at.
Well, I'm afraid that we have to go. We've totally run out of time, Vince. But definitely, the last highlight is definitely one way that churches and mosques, especially religious places of worship, it looks like everywhere is susceptible now. Even schools.
Even schools.
Yeah,
even markets. They can have front technology
to protect
to give them some more information.
Those places. But we have to thank you very much for coming on Sunrise Daily. Well, Vince Onyekwelu is a security consultant and also a former British police officer. Sunrise Daily will continue in just a moment. Please stay with us.